Hey everybody, Joe the J Fam here, and as many of you might have figured out, I work in the HVAC industry. That basically means I do service work on furnace, air conditioning, water heaters, and so forth. So when it comes to furnaces here in Canada, what they do is they heat the home in the winter so it's not so cold. Now once a year it's always recommended you get your furnace checked, like a tune-up, just make sure everything's working the way it should. So of course, I work on my own, and for the most part, she's working fine. Now, one thing you should check for when doing furnace tune-ups or maintenance, depending on whatever the company calls it, is you check for carbon monoxide. For those of you who don't know, carbon monoxide is a very deadly gas that gas-fired appliances have the potential of producing. Now, I have a meter or a combustion analyzer that checks carbon monoxide levels. Mine is not functioning properly. So I got a friend, Paul, who's also in the business. He's going to be coming over a bit later to make sure that my furnace is not producing unsafe levels of carbon monoxide. So this is the inside of my furnace. As you can see, it looks kind of complicated. When you work on enough, they're really not as complicated as they seem. So basically, when there's a call for heat at the thermostat, this motor turns on first, closing this switch, which turns your burners on. Now, while everything is running, the fumes from these burners go out this tube on the side, and they get taken right outdoors. So when it comes to furnaces, they all have heat exchangers. They have the high efficient ones have two, primary and secondary. This particular model of furnace, the best way to check to make sure your heat exchangers are not defective is by taking the carbon monoxide reading. So once Paul gets here, we're going to get this thing started up. And this little port here, he's going to put his probe into to make sure my carbon monoxide levels are in acceptable range. So let's see what happens when he gets here. Alright, so I just got a call from Paul. He's about 10 minutes out. So now when you're doing a CO check, the best thing to do, have this thing run for a bit. So now that Paul's on his way, what I've done is I've started it up. So I got my motor running, switch is closed, and right now flames are blowing blue, which is what they should be. If you get too much orange, it's not a good sign. So I'm going to let this heat up, let this run, and then we'll get Paul to take a reading. Alright, so we got Paul here. Now, another way to check CO is at the vent itself. So you take your probe right into the exhaust, and we look for the CO reading.
That number there, don't worry about the second one. COA, I have no clue even what that
As long as that CO0P stays under 100, then we're all good.
I don't think we're defective yet. If it was, that thing would be spinning like a slot machine.
My average last couple years would be about 8 to 10.
Has it?
So
this one, I bet you this is up in the 20s. Guaranteed. Takes so long to register it though on this meter. I find some though get it right away, and this one it takes a few minutes to run it.
Well, we're up to 13, so not so bad.
Definitely not defective. Bet you maybe we'll get 20 parts if we're lucky. But yeah, I also go to this part here, and that's going to give me the CO2 percentage 5.9. So most of my meters, I'm seeing that reading maybe bottom out at 9.5. So CO 17 parts per million,
which is good.
Not bad.
So just for everybody to know, the furnace has been running for about a good 15 minutes now. The way you do it is crank your thermostat temperature up, let it run. That way the furnace settles out. I've already flushed and primed my trap, so I'm not going to get any CO there. Burners are clean. Gas pressure is good. And we're at 18 parts per million, so my furnace survives one more winter.
Now, do you want to go do a quick check on your pressures?
let's go double check the gas pressure. So now that we're back inside, there's when you're checking gas pressure, you tie into the gas valve here. There's a little port on the side. Two different ways to do it. For because my particular furnace has an enclosed burner box, you either take the door off or you have to tie into that pressure tube. So just like me, Paul's taking the door off. We're going to fire this back up and see what the gas pressure holds steady at. Because when I was doing it earlier, ladies and gentlemen, my gas pressure was all over the place, so I don't know if it was my meter or if my gas valve's acting up, so we're just going to confirm it and then change the gas valve if we need it. So for a Carrier furnace, which is what I got, when there's a call for heat, main blower fan comes on, and like I mentioned before, eventually that motor will start up, closing the switch and firing up the burners.
Let me take a peek inside, see what your heat exchanger is looking like. We can tell it's not going to be bad though, because we had a nice CO number outside. A little bit of rusting around your burner ports, that's about it. The metal still looks good in this one, buddy. A little bit of rust stains. Did your coil freeze up at one time?
Yeah, when it was leaking.
Did it? Yes, that's
that was
a little bit of rust in there then.
That was, oh wow, that was a long time ago.
Was it?
So as you see, now it's called a venter motor kicks on. That switch will be closed, and then you will see a nice orange glow, followed by a blue flame.
If it's burning clean. If not, we could see a lot of orange in there.
So there's the igniter. Followed by the blue flame.
At the lower end of the scale, you want me to bump that up to 3.5?
Alright, so as you can all see, I'm at 3.2 inches water column. I've usually kept it around 3.5.
So I'll make a little adjustment for you.
So we're gonna now adjust gas pressure. That little brass cap is right off the gas valve, and then
Have you ever adjusted this, Joe?
Yeah, this morning.
Alright, so you didn't crank this tight then?
No.
Perfect. I wish they were all like this one.
So as he's adjusting this, there's a little screw on a spring in there, which adjusts the pressure there.
.2 to 3.8 is our threshold. 3.5 is a good number to set it at. There we go.
So some furnaces like Carrier give a gas pressure range for manifold pressure. I like to keep it around 3.5. But as long as it's with manufacturer specs, you're all good to go.
Just snug that. I didn't do it tight on you, Joe. So we'll just tear this once again just to confirm.
I think my meter might be whacked.
Pretty darn close to 3.5. Did you do your Delta T's already?
I did it earlier.
Did you? So it's all good then?
I'm at 137 supply, so.
Nice. What's this one, 40 to 70 difference? Yep. So yeah, give a shot of the reading plate. See that information that we get to look at. Gives us the amp draw on the unit, Delta T, temperature rise. Let's see how much you're drawing on this one, Joe.
So the 138.7 is degrees Fahrenheit of supply air coming to the house to heat everything up. Which for Carrier, not so bad.
Amp draws coming in at 4.76 amps. There's a maximum value allowed on this sticker, and that value is going to be 7.7 amps. So being at a 4.75, that's within the number that's allowed. If it was over 7.7, it's not good. But yeah, everything's good here, Joe.
So Long story short, people, it's been confirmed my furnace gets to live one more winter.
We'll just do a quick CO test, just make sure that we're around the same number outside.
So the other spot to check CO, like I mentioned earlier, is just off the venter motor. Is a little port. You just tie your hose in, then you get to see your CO reading.
And a lot of the guys say don't check CO there because it can draw condensation up into my trap here. But if you look, it's quite a bit before that water level is going to go up to the filter. So I always monitor it, make sure I'm not getting water in there. If I am, I drain that water out. And as for CO readings, we're 15 parts per million right now.
So for the most part, same reading outside when it comes to that. So I'm confident this furnace isn't going to kill us.
Yeah, everything's good. Golden.
A little better.
So that's it for the furnace maintenance. Everything's good. Winter ready.
And if you like it, subscribe, drop a comment, share it. And for Paul here has his own channel. His link will be in the description. So you can jump over there for all kinds of different furnace tips. And we'll see you in the next one.
Take care.